Before I get to all that, though, I should at least do an Enchant Worldle, as is tradition. As is tradition. And this has to go somewhere. So I guess it'll go up here. 4 mana or 5 mana rare that is either an enchantment or a creature, or that is neither an enchantment or a creature, excuse me. Vivian Reed. Okay, it's a 4 mana black rare, Vraska's Contempt. Wait. Oh, that's too old. 4 mana black Lethal Scheme. It is a 4 mana black and blank sorcery? Black and blank. Um, 4 mana rare black and blank. My shit don't stink. At instant speed? Probably something from Strixhaven. Is there a black-white forger? Oh, the Silver Quill command. Oh, it's a sorcery. So it's not an instant. So I got it. And I didn't say that out loud. Don't worry about it. Mythos of Snapdax? Right, black and red. A black-red 4-drop rare? Oh, it's some fucking commander card. Oh, no, it's the army something. Widespread Brutality. Oh, he's good. He's so good. This card fucking sucks. He's so good. Enchant Worldle. Whenever a creature you control... 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw a card. Elemental Bond. He's so fucking good. How good is he? Come on, people. Come on. Oh. Legendary creature. Something. And then they give me this shit. It's got haste. Card name. It's a dragon. It's the something tyrant. Drakuseth. Something tyrant. Wait. Whenever create a blank count. Blank. Creature token. Something tyrant. I don't fucking know. For each creature dragon. Oh, is this? Can't remember what this card's name is. I can like picture the card, but also any description I give is just gonna. Yeah, I forget what this. I forget its name. I don't care. I want to just start talking Deathless. Yeah, Deathless Tyrant. Wait. Is this the card that I thought it was? Bladewing Deathless Tyrant? This definitely wasn't the card that I thought it was, but I also don't remember that this Bladewing is called Bladewing Deathless Tyrant. Who gives a shit? You're not here for this. You're here for this. Okay. Hi, everybody. So chances are this is going to get uploaded separately. Right? It's going to get uploaded separately. In a there'll likely be 2 VODs because people are going to watch this for this, and they can watch Cube for Cube, and I don't know, we'll figure it out. But I'm going to be talking about the Commander banned and restricted announcement. There was an announcement today regarding the ban list for Commander, as well as some changes made to the Game Changer list. I'm going to read through the article. I'm going to provide some insight as a member of the Commander format panel as to, what went on, how I voted, what we talked about, why, maybe kind of elaborate on stuff that Gavin mentions in his article, and then hopefully answer some questions and talk to people that are expressing thoughts about other cards or whatever. Like, we get to the end, people are like, why isn't this card here? Why isn't this card here? I can tell you whether or not we talked about it or why it wouldn't be on there. Does that work? Great. I don't know if I want to read all this. I mean, I guess I should. Hello, this is Gavin Verhey on behalf of the Commander format panel. We have said we'd do an evaluation of the format's ban list ever since the panel was announced last year. We've now finished the evaluation of that list, and today we are unbanning 5 cards. For those using brackets to define your decks, it should be noted the cards being unbanned will immediately move to the Game Changers list. And if you're interested in more talk about brackets, you can check out today's update on those, including several new Game Changers in this article. This is the Commander format panel was created earlier this year or very late last year, I guess. It would have been late last year. And when it was created, we made an announcement that we weren't going to immediately ban or unban cards. Because we need to get some, foundation laid and work with this Game Changer list, work with, the community, work with communication, figure out what people are looking for, what folks that are very vocal about the format that are also, respectable, are looking for, and source from communities, and kind of just figure out what our job is, right? It's easy for us to say, hey, we're the Commander format panel and we're here to say, and then list off the things that we're looking to achieve, but also sometimes that's not always going to be the case. Like, we could set out with certain goals or certain ideas, and then it turns out that we better serve the greater community by changing how we operate or what we focus on, right? So we took some time. We didn't make any changes initially, and we worked on basically the Game Changer list and how cards that are currently on the ban list would operate within the parameters of Game Changers. Game Changers have a wide set of parameters for what qualifies as a game changer and what we believe doesn't qualify as a game changer. Game Changers themselves are a little complicated, but also we'll get into that when we get to the actual Game Changer part. But yeah. He mentions that there's an article talking about that. When it came to reviewing the ban list and unbanning cards, we felt the cards we unbanned should meet some or all of these criteria. Cards that have some fond memories associated with them. Cards that contribute to positive play patterns, enjoyable decks, and or splashy moments. Cards that don't create runaway games or negative play patterns. Lunar is asking, are we allowed to know your opinions on each choice? Yes. I am. There are certain things that I am sworn to secrecy. Certain things that the NDA kind of kicks in. But my take on cards and my stance on certain cards, whether or not I was for them being banned, for them being added to the Game Changer list, removed, I could just talk about that whenever. That's fine. In fact, it's encouraged because the Commander format panel, although we, tried to have consistent messaging. We are not a monolith. So even though, we will, even though like the changes that were made here, though there are some of them that I don't entirely agree on, I am not going to come out here and just shit on them. I'm going to come out here, say why I don't personally agree with them, why a majority of the players involved did agree with this change and the mindset behind that. And those two things can exist. They can coexist, and that's fine. It's too hot for this sweater. I'm going to change into something before I get into the cards, because I have some things to talk about. It's fucking warm here. It's so warm. I don't know if you could see it. Mulder's chair isn't by my computer. It's just in the sunlight. Oh, that is already so much better. Although I gotta say, I'm nothing without my chain. No, I'm not putting music on until we start playing. You don't need music for this part. You just need to listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay. The criteria for cards that were unbanned from the list. Cards that have some fond memories associated with them, right? It seems silly to say, but nostalgia is a powerful tool, right? Cards with nostalgia, with history, with impact on the game across various formats, previous iterations of Commander, whatever. That's important, right? Because ultimately, the purpose of the Commander ban list, and most ban lists, is to get people excited to play Magic the Gathering, to get people excited to play Commander, right? And Commander being the format that is the blank canvas for everybody to paint on, is one where you are going to get players wanting to play cards that may be anything from terrible to overpowered to not a great play pattern, but because they are iconic, because they are either famous or infamous at times, people want to play them. And they may look at these cards and think like, oh God, I remember playing Gifts Ungiven Storm, or I remember playing Gifts Ungiven in Type 2 or Extended. I love the idea of being able to gifts for, 4 cool dragons or whatever. Like they may recall playing cards like this and they want to play them in, well, their favorite format, or at the very least, they want them to be able to play them in the most popular format, right? Cards that contribute to positive play patterns, enjoyable decks, and or splashy moments. A lot of the cards that find their way onto the Commander ban list, including cards that were unbanned here, do not actually have positive play patterns. Like, Golos is one of my favorite ones to call out, because you still have people that are like, Golos should have never been banned. It's like, yeah, I hate it when my commander is 5 color, but also doesn't matter what my mana looks like, that tutors up something that is difficult to interact with, that also funds its ability to then cheat out things for free. But also, if they deal with my commander, it's okay, because my commander already set up to recast itself and will continue to reset to cast itself. Also, I got a Field of the Dead. Like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. No crimes committed by Golos, I guess. There are cards that A lot of cards, basically, if they are in the conversation of the commander ban list and a lot of ban lists, it's because their play patterns are, well, kind of rancid at times. But it's not about whether or not the default play pattern is rancid. It's about whether or not they can contribute to positive play patterns or splashy, memorable moments or, enjoyable decks, right? Like, Gifts Ungiven can set up some fucked up kills. But, like I said, it can also set up decks that are like, I am playing a deck themed around people making choices. I am themed around a deck about fours, a deck about pairs, a deck that looks to just play cool Kamigawa cards, stuff like that you can play Gifts Ungiven in a way that isn't going to set up a Doomsday combo, a Thoracle kill, whatever, right? You can play Gifts Ungiven in a way to do that, but you don't have to. So this card, for instance, I'm just going to use it because it's the top one here. It can contribute to positive play patterns of, I'm building my deck around a theme. I'm building my deck around a goofy theme that engages with my opponents. Enjoyable decks. I'm building my deck to find my favorite cards, and I don't care which ones my opponents give me because they're all my favorite cards. And or splashy moments. Even if Gifts Ungiven is finding some kind of combo, if it's not finding the Thassa's Oracle Tainted Pact kind of combo, then it can find something that is like kind of cool, kind of wild, kind of splashy. Like, it can do something interesting, right? And cards that don't create runaway games or negative play patterns. Again, Gifts Ungiven is a card that does have some fucked up applications, but it's not alone in setting those situations up. In fact, it is expensive. It's a 4-mana card at setting that up. Uses the graveyard, a very vulnerable zone. Provides some amount of choice to opponents, allowing them to, allowing them to pick a pile. When people talk about Gifts Ungiven, they create these default piles of like, you always give them the Snapcaster Mage plus Tainted Pact pile because that costs the most mana. Snapcast, you know what I mean. You give them that pile because that costs 5 mana instead of 4 mana, but you can maybe give them a different pile depending on what kind of cards you have or what kind of things, opponents are able to do by coordinating with the other players at the table, etc. So like there are, even when this card is at its most fucked up, it's still not like I've played this thing, I am so incredibly far ahead just off the back of this card, and you're goozled. And it's not a negative play pattern in the sense that you play this card, it resolves, you carry on. The board itself is actually exactly the same, right? This isn't the case for some of these cards, but we'll get there as we get there. There are also cards we felt would be safe at a power level of bracket 3 and above, where game changers generally sit. However, we also want to recognize the idea of commander brackets and the game changers list is still relatively new, that not everybody will be using these systems. We want to be mindful with the cards we chose to unban. So yeah, spoiler alert, Braids is not exactly a card that creates... Braids is a card that creates runaway games and negative play patterns. It is a card that doesn't often contribute to positive play patterns, typically not enjoyable decks, and it's not exactly splashy because people don't get to play the game. It is a card that has a lot of fond memories attached to it, and is also a card that we are the most concerned about at a lower bracket level, or, at a bracket level where people just want to play what they have and not have to go through a conversation about, hey, I'm playing a Braids deck and I have the Grim Monolith and I have Mana Vault and I got Braids and that's what I'm doing. And you're like, oh, okay, I don't want to play with you. But you get what I mean. It's the bracket system can deal with some of these cards or help kind of moderate the appearance rate of some of these cards. But also not everybody uses it, so we need to like be a little heads up. But also Braids is a card that is like at least heads up in terms of you read this card and it looks fucking miserable, so you can kind of understand why people would not want to play it. Anywho, over the rest of the year, we'll be curious to see how the adoption of brackets continues to grow and how these unbans affect players' games. This will tell us a lot about any future unbans we may make. Let us explain each of the 5 bans. Starting off with Gifts Ungiven. This is a beloved card with a great history. Many of you out there have enjoyed casting this card in all sorts of formats. We're excited to return it to Commander. The previous concern has been the nature of this as a power tutor, the time-intensive casting process, and the combos enabled by this card. We considered this within the structure of brackets and just regular pre-game conversations. If your deck is trying to infinite combo with this, they should often help sort out if you're playing in the right environment. On the other hand, a fair Gifts Ungiven is a very fun and akin to Fact or Fiction in the politics and interplay between players it can create. I already talked about this card a lot because it was my example card, but yeah, Gifts Ungiven, when it's used at the highest power level, like CDH or whatnot, it is still not the most powerful tutor available, although it is a genuinely powerful card. But they're grown-ups. They can handle it. Right? Like, this is going to have an impact at the higher power level. It is quite good there. If you're doing broken things with Gifts Ungiven, Gifts Ungiven is going to help you, set up broken things. Like I said, that's nothing new. But also, that's okay, because if we unban Gifts Ungiven, and then the CDH community pops off and says, exactly, thank you. Psycho saying Underworld Breach is now more busted. Yeah, well, then maybe Underworld Breach needs to get banned. Right? Maybe it's not Gifts Ungiven. Maybe it's the fucking 2-mana Yogg-Will that doesn't actually Yogg-Will that needs to get banned. Right? Maybe it's the Thassa's Oracle. Who knows? Like, it is not for the crime. Gifts Ungiven is not the biggest offender here. It is a card that should not pay for the sins of some incredible design mistakes. Like Gifts Ungiven shouldn't be paying for the crimes of one of the most powerful cards ever designed in the form of Underworld Breach. And you could say, like, hey, how come then we aren't making an immediate swap? It's because, well, we don't know. We can do a lot of we can pass around a lot of theory crafting about how Gifts Ungiven is going to be, how it's going to affect a minority group of Commander players. But we need to see that in action before we, make any changes on that. In terms of the greater majority of Commander players, Gifts Ungiven is a cool card that is looked upon very fondly, that offers a lot of interesting play patterns at any power level, or at most power levels, I guess. I mean, I find Gifts Ungiven to still be an interesting card at higher power levels. Again, it isn't as open and shut as some commenters may make it out to be, but it is still very good. It's literally 2 Demonic Tutors and 2 Entombs at once. No, it's not, because Demonic Tutor does this a very specific thing that Gifts Ungiven does not do. Demonic Tutor says pick a card from your deck, put it into your hand. Gifts Ungiven does not do that. Your opponent picks which card. Your opponent also picks which Entomb. In practice, it can lead to cases where you are going to get to the same end result, but saying it's literally 2 Demonic Tutors and 2 Entombs is reductive and incorrect. So, yeah, Gifts Ungiven. Cool. It's an outdated card to be on the Commander bans list, right? Like, it's the kind of card where, again, it likely stayed on the ban list longer than it should, despite the fact that it as a card got a lot worse, and the surrounding pieces that are degenerate and busted Well, more of them popped up. And so maybe we should unban the Gifts Ungiven and ban Underworld Breach. If people are talking about the strength of Gifts Ungiven, talking about the strength of Intuition, talking about the strength of all these cards, and the same fucking card keeps popping up, like if all the conversations surrounding gifts or intuition or any expensive tutor roots back to Thassa's Oracle or roots back to Underworld Breach, maybe there's a better conversation to be having about those cards. Especially if something like Underworld Breach, being such a power outlier, is causing some issues. Sway the Stars. I feel like I'm going to read this card because I don't know how many of you people have actually played this card or have read this card. 2 and 2 blue for a sorcery. Each player shuffles their hand, graveyard, and all permanents they own into their deck. They draw 7 cards, and each player's life total becomes 7. It's a 10 mana sorcery. A 10 mana way to reset the game akin to Worldfire, which was previously unbanned in Commander, to little fanfare or play. There are some players who enjoy this effect. It is an impactful card, but not a powerful one. 8 not 2? What did I say? Didn't I say it was a 10 mana card? Or did I say 2 and 2? I don't know. You know what I mean. It's on the 2 and 2 blue? 8 and 2 blue. You people probably don't know what the card does. Reads the card incorrectly. It's a 10 mana card. There are people who enjoy this effect as an impactful card, not a powerful card. There are plenty of other spells that cost 8 or more mana that have a far higher impact than Sway. Our guess is this will see little play, but the people who enjoy cards like this will now be able to play another one. Yeah, it's this is not a card worth spending 10 mana for unless you are like already the player that is looking to play Sway the Stars. Right? Like, this is the kind of card that you play if you are going to be able to either close the game after casting it, or we're already a player playing the Great Aurora or Worldfire, cards like this. If you play this kind of card and nothing happens afterwards, and you've just wasted everybody's time, well, then they're probably not going to play with you again. Or they're going to tell you to stop. And so there's a little self-correction that comes in the not just the play patterns of this card, but the deck building that comes with this card. Like it checks itself by nature of it's just not fun. Right? Like it's expensive. It doesn't actually do something except for maybe waste time. And if you're playing with people that don't want their time wasted, then they're just going to tell you, well, I don't want to play with this. I don't want to play against you or with you. And that's okay. It is a game changer after all. Often in the conversation before you play a game. And if you're playing at a higher power level and they do this, well, probably shouldn't have let them resolve an 8 mana spell, dummy. Yeah, you could play Sway the Stars and Teferi's Protection, and then for 13 mana and 2 cards, you can maybe win the game. Probably win the game. Ten plus 3. 10 mana. Did I say 3 mana? Did I say 8 mana? Hey, you just don't lose for their turn. Look, I'm rushing through this card because this card fucking sucks. This card was banned as a part of just, they did not want this card to exist, right? They did not want this card to be something that you would play. It was because it's annoying. This card was banned not on power level, but banned because it's annoying. And now we have so many annoying cards, as well as many other social tools and format or bracket tools to let annoying people know they're annoying. Then, like, yeah, this card is okay to have unbanned. Okay. Braids Cabal Minion. This card is a beloved character and a card many are nostalgic for. When played as one of your 99 cards or later in the game, it is a totally reasonable effect with an appropriate impact on the game. The most frustrating Braids games are when it's put out extremely quickly and people feel locked under it. However, as little as a single removal spell can really set the entire plan back. As Commander games have become more efficient with more targeted removal spells, and players have gotten better at identifying commanders they don't want to play against and having pre-game conversations, so that gives us the confidence to bring Braids back. A lot has changed since Braids was banned in 2009. We mostly believe people will know what they're signing up for in a game with Braids as a commander, and as a card in the 99, it is responsible and acceptable. So personally, I didn't want Braids coming back. I voted for Braids to remain banned. And I would wager that I am somebody that has played with Braids more than many of you, considering that I was playing with this card when it was printed, and some of you weren't even fucking born. The thing about Braids, I'm going to talk my piece as to why I wanted it to remain banned, and then I'm going to cover why it was unbanned, right? Because what good comes from adding this card? That's my sense, is like, now, like, I don't know how much is gained from this, because the players that really wanted to play Braids were already playing Braids. They were already having Rule Zero conversations about playing Braids in a fair capacity. When this card is your commander, cheating it out early is very easy, especially in black, right? The banning of Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt makes it a little more difficult, but we have Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, Cabal Ritual, Mana Vaults, whatever. And even at bracket 3 or bracket 4, this card is still really annoying and kind of terrible to play against. Like, the play experience of this card is not an enjoyable one. And I'm saying that as someone that loves stacks. Like, and when I say stacks, I mean actual stacks, not what CDH players call stacks. Like, I like stacks. I like smokestacks and tangle wire and strip blocking people. I love getting the Abyss in play. I love getting a Nether Void in play, right? I like Prison. But at 4 mana in the command zone, in the right color, I'm just not interested. Like, it's just not fun. It's not inspiring to me. It's a card that is not as nostalgic as they make it out to be in here. I feel like this card is very nostalgic for a tiny sliver of players. And again, players that, if they are indeed nostalgic for it, will find outlets to play this card. I don't think Commander needs to be that outlet. And despite the fact that more people are playing removal spells, more people are playing interaction, cheap interaction as well, their definition of cheap interaction is still at 3 mana, right? Like, when you think about the kind of removal that Commander players are playing, admittedly, there are more copies of Swords to Plowshares and Path to Exile running around, but a lot of it comes in the form of your Chaos Warps, Beast Withins, Generous Gifts, Stroke of Midnight. Reality Shift, I guess, is a 2 mana card that can act as that. But it's just still, these fuckers aren't playing Lightning Bolt. They still don't realize that you should be playing Lightning Bolt in your commander decks. And I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. So I ask, like, what are we gaining from unbanning this? And is it better just to keep it banned to say, like, hey, on a power level scale, this card is miserable, especially if brackets are, at a lot of times, more of a suggestion than strict rules. And you can have these conversations with, like, I don't want to play against the Braids deck. But it's just, I don't think we even need to have those. Like, I think that if you start, I'm not trying to slippery slope this, but I think if you start saying, like, well, you can have pre-game conversations to figure out whether or not you want to play at this table with this commander, then I think that we should maybe reevaluate the position of legendary creatures on the game changer list, right? Like we should then look to saying like, yeah, do we need to have Kinnan or Yuriko as a game changer? Like Yuriko is still fucked up in like a Satoru deck or whatever, but it's, obviously at its worst when it is a repeatable commander ninjutsu. Kinnan can lead to some infinite mana shenanigans in a dedicated creature combo deck or an artifact deck, but is that it's scariest when it is when it's readily available from the command zone. And so I guess what I'm saying is I don't like Braids being unbanned because it feels like the push to getting it unbanned doesn't line up with the communication that we have set with other legendary creatures that are on the game changer list, and as well as the conversations we had internally about adding additional legendary creatures to the game changer list that were, basically shot down is not the word I'm looking for, because it wasn't that. The communication that we have on the Discord and amongst the Commander format panel is great. But, we did talk about cards like Joda, right? Like, should Joda Grand Unifier, is that his name? Or that's Atraxa? Should Joda, whatever the fucking SpongeBob guy is, be a game changer? Because that's a card that as a commander, is like, that card is almost always a commander, and it is difficult to communicate to players that this card is just not okay, that this card is fucked, and that its power level, like, it doesn't matter what you are doing with Joda, much like some of the other like very problematic power outlier commanders. It doesn't matter what you are doing with it. The fact that this card is always at your disposal means that it is going to be a problem. Oh, it's Joda the Unifier. Okay, thank you. So yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that I think that unbanning Braids but keeping it as a game changer kind of muddies the communication internally and what we have put out as a panel for commanders as game changers, especially down the line. Like, it's just, this is something, we've talked about, and then if we act on it, what are we going to do with Braids? Because Braids, is, like you said, not an issue in the 99. It's an issue as a commander. And maybe this is all just a byproduct of saying that any card that was on the ban list, if it is unbanned, is going to be taken off and being made a game changer. Then that's whatever. That's work in progress. And that's okay. It's fine for a lot of these changes to basically be the first step. A lot of people want these large sweeping changes because they feel it in their heart of hearts that it needs to be done, and that the way that they see the format and the world is the truth. Or whatever commander solipsist bullshit they've got in their head. But that's just not the case, right? That's not the case. That's not how things are done. It's a step-by-step process. It takes time, and we are, these changes are ones that may require additional changes down the line, but those additional changes are likely just it's changing or it's passing on the keys to the family business from the old fucked up cards that are now only fucked up because the new cards are here, right? Before I get into why it is unbanned, I'll say thank you to Demori for the 71st month. Welcome back. How you doing? How you been? Thanks so much for all the support. Glad to have you. Good to see you. That's a long ass time. Now, with all that said, the communication has gotten a lot better. Players can look at this card and say, I think you're lying to me. If somebody's like, no, it's cool. My Braids deck isn't that bad. My Urza deck, it's okay. My Urza deck is just a construct deck. Or my Turgid deck is like, it's fine. I'm just playing Turgid because she's a 4/4 menace beatdown card or whatever. Like, people can usually sniff out that bullshit Or at the very worst, yes, hello, they lose a game, right? Oh, I didn't even hear. Oh, thank you. Why is this only in French? Someone must be present. Okay, I'll have to put up the sign. Wait, is this for the weed? Oh, that's very funny. Okay. Kiefer got me some Easter chocolate. There's a bunny and there's some carrots. Ooh, okay. I like half price conditioner. Why do people need to feel like... Wait, why do people feel the need to say that shit? Well, because I don't know. I think it's very kind to pick up some on sale Easter candy for me. Oh, this is a solid bunny. You never get a hollow bunny. You get a solid bunny. Anywho. Yeah, I think that people have gotten better at sniffing out bullshit. I think that reading this card and understanding that this card is like not that exciting, right? It's not that exciting to play against. And also, I don't know if it's that exciting to watch you play with it, right? There are certain commanders and strategies that may be power outliers or may have play patterns that are problematic. But frankly, if you put on a good enough show, I'll sit and watch, right? I'll participate. But don't just sit there and start jerking it and be like, ta-da. Like, you got to put a little spectacle in it. And I don't know if there's much spectacle with braids, but that almost like that almost works in her favor of just, you know what's going to happen. And so you can ignore it if you want to, you know? It's almost like she is so blatantly about not having a good time that you got to kind of respect them for it. You're like, okay, yeah, I get it. This you're here for exactly this kind of crap. It's not my jam. Not what I'm here for. Not what I'm here for. And so you can move on, right? The hazelnut filled bunnies. Oh, you mean like this one? Like this one? Why do people need to say Happy Easter? They are making a joke about they're making a joke about people that get upset about saying Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. This is a certified online classic. Yeah. TLDR, I would personally not unban braids unless there is a restructuring in communicating how legendaries that are game changers. Sorry. I am anti-unbanning braids unless it is paired with a changing or a shift on the communication surrounding commanders as game changers. And I think that is a possibility. I'm not saying this will happen. I'm not saying it's already happening. But what I'm saying is that could be a step in the right direction. And thankfully, I have the privilege of maybe being one of the people to kick that off. Right? Great. Coalition victory. This card engendered a great deal of discussion. A lot of it boils down to how impactful and how much of an auto-include it is. In a deck with a 5-color commander, it essentially reads you win the game if you control your commander. That is not the most satisfying end to a game, and it does begin to become an auto-include for many decks. It is an appropriate card to exist. However, it can be easily interacted with. A single removal spell in response to your 5-color commander means you spend 8 mana to do nothing. You also need to untap with your commander and 8 mana, and there are many expensive spells that will do something akin to ending the game in a 5-color deck if you resolve them. Additionally, for those engaging with commander brackets, it is within the time frame of where we expect an I win combo to fall. Yeah, this is a card that people look at and say it's a 1-card combo, and realistically it's not. It's at least a 4 to 5 card combo, with the final piece being an 8 mana sorcery. I'm really quite indifferent to Coalition Victory. It's not the kind of card that I will play. It's the kind of card that I don't particularly want to play against, but also I can safely say that I may be the commander player running the most spot removal of all time. I fucking love spot removal. I love interacting with my opponent's board. And if they're going for the kill, they're spending 8 mana to do so, and I get to spend 1 to 3 mana to stop it. Okay. Yeah, okay, great. Fair dinkum. I can't get mad at you for making an attempt if I don't have it. You can't get mad at me for wanting to not have the game over right away. It's definitely not a satisfying end. It's very boring, and I think that will be a restriction. To me, in most games of Commander, the idea of playing a card that wins the game and only wins the game is baffling. Like, I don't play Commander to win the game. If I wanted to play Magic the Gathering to win, I would schedule a North 100 Showdown recording. I play Commander to just, fuck around. Play with old cards, play with weird cards, cool synergies, build something wacky. I will play cards that often put myself in a spot to win the game, but not a card that just explicitly says, I win the game, right? It's just not for me. And I imagine there are a lot of players that are like that. Once you get to higher brackets, that starts becoming something that you will run into. You'll run into players that are like, yeah, I want to be able to win the game. And sure, they can play this. They can go for the shot. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. That's fine. Again, I am so... There was a ton of discussion surrounding this card. And I kind of felt bad for not engaging with it because I just didn't care. Like, it's just, I don't care about this card. I don't think it is too powerful. I think that it is it comes from a time where you just don't want to have win the game on a card. Right? Yeah, some people like cards that say win the game. And if you build a commander deck around a bunch of alt win cons and you don't win the game with it, that's okay. You expect that to happen. And if you play this and you do win the game with it, great. You worked your buns off to get it to happen, Now we get to talk about my favorite card here. Panoptic Mirror. I'm going to talk about this card because chances are some of you haven't read this card. It's a 5-mana artifact that has imprint for X and tap. You can exile an instant or sorcery from your hand with mana value X from the game. So when you imprint, let's say I have a Rampant Growth, a sorcery that costs 2. I can pay 2 generic mana, tap the Panoptic Mirror, and exile the Rampant Growth from my hand. It effectively becomes imprinted on Panoptic Mirror. So I would have my card, I tap it, I take the Rampant Growth, and I would tuck it behind the Panoptic Mirror to be like, look, it's imprinted. And then it says at the beginning of your upkeep, you may copy an imprinted instant and sorcery card and play the copy without paying its mana cost. So let's say I play my Panoptic Mirror, I imprint the Rampant Growth, and then I go to my next turn, and I get to Rampant Growth on my upkeep for free. If I have a Rampant Growth and a Kodama's Reach, I can do one of these two. I can pick one card that's been imprinted. You can also get a little tricky with it. You can play your Panoptic Mirror and then go to your upkeep and have a triggered ability here. And on the stack, I can activate it, imprinting the Kodama's Reach. The triggered ability resolves and sees that there's a Kodama's Reach and I can cast it. We all know how Panoptic Mirror works. Great. I personally have been a Panoptic Mirror enjoyer since it was originally printed back in Darksteel.
Eggs! EGGS, eggs.
The promise of using a cool spell turn after turn is so fun, and that's still true today. A value mirror is a blast. There are two problems with it. The first is imprinting an extra turn spell. The game is over immediately. The second is imprinting something extremely repetitive, such as a board sweeper, so that that's a weird phrase, so that the game cannot move forward. The latter is something to be a lot less worried about in 2025. There are so many answers to artifacts and decks that even if you're under a board lock, you can get out of it. The first one is well addressed by bracketed play throughout the restrictions on combos and a lower overall density of extra turn effects. And regardless of the bracket system, many tables have a good idea of whether they enjoy infinite combos appearing in their games, and if that's something they want players to do in their decks. Finally, it does take a full turn and a large mana investment, and people have several windows to respond to it in. They can kill it before you untap in response to the ability, or after the ability resolves and your opponent is down a card. Thank you to Ceremonial Cowboy for the 3 years. 3 years, and all I have to show for it is this badge and the good memories. So don't you hate it when it's just, enjoyment? Thank you for all the support. Glad to have you. Good to see you. I have been fighting to get Panoptic Mirror removed from the Commander ban list for years. Even before I was invited to the Commander Advisory Group 3 years ago, when I was able to whisper into the ears of people on the CAG or the RC themselves, I wanted Panoptic Mirror unbanned for exactly these reasons. 3 years later, Panoptic Mirror is unbanned. I think it's literally the first thing I said once we started talking about cards getting unbanned. I said, please unban Panoptic Mirror. This is a card that has some problematic play patterns associated with it, but those play patterns are checked by the bracket system and the social contract. If you imprint Armageddon onto your Panoptic Mirror, I'm not playing with you anymore. I'm not fucking playing with you. You probably aren't going to do that because you understand that doing these two things is terrible. And if you are doing that, then you're probably doing it with a play group that understands that you're the kind of person that, has to get their self-worth through magic cards or whatever. Same with extra turn effects. This offers a way to take infinite extra turns, but there are so many ways to already do that. And often extra turn cards are just kind of frowned upon in general. And so it kind of does a check, right? It says like, oh, you're playing extra turn cards? That's not that. I'm good. I'm out. I don't want to play against that deck. I hate extra turns. I want to, that kind of thing. And so the two biggest concerns of like mass destruction, land destruction, even wrathing, gets dealt with. Tutors also kind of gets dealt with, right? Like if you're playing like a hard tutor under your Panoptic Mirror every single turn, like you're probably, or you might be a redneck. You also might be in a higher bracket, and then sure, go off. You could do that. I didn't have a disenchant. 3 players didn't have a disenchant, and you're technically just down a card right away, and we get a whole other turn cycle. Like if it's not an extra turn spell, think about it this way. It explains it in this, but listen to me. This is what I told the RC fucking 3 years ago. You play the Panoptic Mirror. I'm player A and I play Panoptic Mirror. B, C, and D all have an opportunity to deal with Panoptic Mirror, knowing that something may happen. They have an opportunity to deal with it all on their turns. Then they could also just let me get to upkeep, imprint the card on Panoptic Mirror, respond to the imprint by killing all the cards. By killing the mirror, excuse me. If I play Panoptic Mirror, B, C, and D don't do anything, gets back to my turn, and they see me tap like 5 mana and activate Panoptic Mirror, then you kill my Panoptic Mirror. Or you let me see what I put under it, you let it happen once, then you kill my Panoptic Mirror. Or you just let it happen because I'm doing cool shit, right? The amount of ways to blow up artifacts has skyrocketed. I talked about them previously. Generous Gift, Stroke of Midnight, Beast Within, Abrade, Untimely Malfunction. just so many ways to deal with a 5 mana artifact that then besage you. Yeah, thank you. So many ways of dealing with this. So not only is it vulnerable, but the most problematic play patterns are dealt with by the social contract, or just by you being in a community or a play group that is okay with that happening. And this card is so fucking cool. Like, I grew up playing this card. And you better believe I was imprinting everything from Beacon of Immortality to Beacon of Creation, Beacon of Unrest, Beacon of Destruction. Like, I put Concentrate on this. I've put Kodama's Reach, you know? Like, this is a really fun card when you are not a jerk. And even sometimes, if you are a jerk, if you're a very specific type of jerk, it's a fun card. Like, yeah, putting bribery on this card is kind of cool. Like, it doesn't, end the game. It draws a lot of attention towards yourself, but you can have, like, there's so much of a conversation to have with Panoptic Mirror, even if you are a bit of a jerk. Like, you could be like, hey, I'm going to put bribery on this, but I'm going to have a stipulation for what I find. Or like, hey, I'm going to put a big burn spell, but I'm going to do something cheeky where I randomly select one player to fire that burn spell at. Like, I'm going to put Lava Axe under this. And I'm going to Lava Axe, I don't know, a random player at the table, including myself. Right? Or I'm going to put like a card that changes control of random permanents or whatever. Like, that shit's cool. Smallpox? No, get out. Like, that's cool. That's cool. I fucking love this card, and I am so happy that, I am so happy that it's here. Scheming Symmetry. That's the one tutor you put under this card that is actually kind of dope.
Abusing magic.
I'm into it. Yeah, but Prisoner's Dilemma. That is so funny. The last time, for people that didn't watch, we did a Commander game where somebody cast Prisoner's Dilemma, and out of the players, one person decided to be the snitch and deal 12 to each of us. I killed him. Snitches get stitches. You don't ever snitch. We're all in this together. All right? They didn't, I don't know what her name was. Was it Ashley Tisdale? She didn't belt out those lyrics for nothing. Rip that, remember. Levy the Goblin, welcome to the stream. Thank you for subscribing and supporting the channel. Yeah, Panoptic Mirror. Great call. Great ad. Here we go. Let's continue on. These cards have not been legal in Commander for a long time, originally being banned between 2005 and 2009. Think about how different the game is, not just Commander, but Magic as a whole, since 2009. Since 2005 era. I believe these cards, like, I think Braids got banned in 2009 with, I can't remember if Mirror got banned then. Because Mirror also got banned. Here's the funny thing about Mirror. Mirror got banned, and I called shotted this. I said that this card probably got banned because somebody put a Beacon of Immortality underneath it. And I was right. And I believe this card got banned while Beacon of Immortality got unbanned. Anyways, a lot has happened. A lot has happened across 15, 16 years. We are not opposed to banning them again at some point in the future if they still prove problematic. However, these feel in line with our expectations and are okay to try given where the format is today. I know many of you out there will be decided to try them, and I look forward to reading about what you all come up. The effects they go into effect immediately. Great. Yeah. I don't really see any of these cards getting rebanned. This is not my take this is not an official take of the Commander format panel. This is just me saying, yeah, don't worry about it. And like I talked about at the beginning, there's a chance that, you know, maybe Underworld Breach does get banned because of cards like Gifts Ungiven or whatever. Good. Great. Glad of it. Power of Diet Coca-Cola. We would be plugging our ears. This is about Dockside Extortionist, Jeweled Lotus, and Mana Crypt. Notably not Nadu, because fuck Nadu. We would be plugging our ears if we did not acknowledge the elephants in the room when it comes to the series of unbans. The September bans of Dockside, Lotus, and Crypt. Many players out there probably immediately scrolled down this long article as quickly as they could to discover the fates of these cards. We did talk about these cards. We're not unbanning them at this time. Opinions from the Commander format panel varied. Some believe Commander is more fun without them. Others would like more time to see how the Commander bracket system is adopted before doing anything here. And others felt it's too soon to do anything with these cards. There were a few people who were open to doing something with Jeweled Lotus now, but that was not the majority opinion. The overwhelming majority of the panel did not want to do anything with these cards at this time. Yeah, fuck these cards. They suck. They are not enjoyable. They are power outliers. They are absolutely rancid to play with, to play against. They are really powerful at high, like they are power outliers at high power brackets. They are power outliers in low powered brackets. I don't give a shit if you're playing a big vanilla legend. If you're using a Jeweled Lotus, stop. Like, come on. What are we even doing? I was admittedly against the ban of Mana Crypt. Like, I talked about this before. I don't want to go too in depth about this, but I was against the ban of Mana Crypt. But now that we have lived in a world without Mana Crypt, as far as, you know, gameplay goes, and now that the Band-Aid has been ripped off, yeah, it's great. Fuck Mana Crypt. Are you kidding me? Have you read this card? Personally, I did not want any of these cards back. Especially not Jeweled Lotus. I think Jeweled Lotus is arguably one of the most egregious cards on the list. People talk about Jeweled Lotus and like big mana commanders, and it's just, who cares? Just like, I don't know. Like, it feels Jeweled Lotus talking about big mana commanders and Jeweled Lotus is so wild to me because it's like, but I can't play my 6 mana commander in CDH without Jeweled Lotus. And it's like, yeah, okay, so what? It's competitive. It's supposed to be competitive. I can't play fucking Nimble Mongoose and Canadian Highlander anymore. And that's just what happens. It's called entropy. Time moves on. It's not a viable competitive option, so you don't do it. Like, I don't know. But in a more, in a gentler tone, I do not think that Jeweled Lotus existing in the format is healthy for the format. I think it creates, there's an argument you can make about Jeweled Lotus being used to cast 6 mana commanders. But I think this card is at its scariest because people are playing 4 mana commanders. Right? Like, it's just, I'm okay without Jeweled Lotus. I'm okay slowing things down. That's fine. We're all here to play the game. Let's slow it down a little bit. God knows the commander is getting faster and faster with every set. Right? Yeah, Jeweled Lotus into braids. Oh my god. Excuse me. Future bans. Commander has been through a lot since last September. It's been a time with a change of hands, a new panel being formed, and lots of uncertainty around what will remain on the ban list. After this appraisal of the ban list, card list, and changes, we'd like to take some time to just let things sit. For everybody to exhale after waiting on this announcement and have a bit more of a relaxed time in the Commander News world. Additionally, we'd love to give more time for the Commander bracket system to develop, which will help inform how much moving cards off the ban list and onto the Game Changers list does for how often and where those cards show up. So, we are committing no further changes to the ban list for the rest of the year. Starting next year, we can touch the ban list again and at more regular intervals. So not just one ban window a year, but we want to hold off for the rest of the year. The only exception will be what I'm calling the Nadu contingency, which is if a new or unbanned card begins to become generally reviled and people just want it gone as soon as possible. We can break that seal and act earlier. However, I'm hopeful we do not need to do this, as it would need to be fairly extreme circumstance. As it has often been stressed to me, Commander moves slowly. It's fine to take our time and let everything settle. Stability is a core tenet of Commander's philosophy. Recently, hasn't always felt that way. Let's get back to that stability. Good. Yeah, we just unbanned 5 cards, moved a handful of cards onto the Game Changer list, moved some cards off the Game Changer list. That's a lot of changes. And this isn't to say that we're not doing anything like in a year. Like the idea of maybe, I did see one comment being like, so what are you doing? You do all this and you're just doing nothing? Yeah, dude, that's what we're fucking doing. We're putting this out and then we're going on vacation. We're putting up a sign on the Commander format panel and saying, see you suckers in a year. No, we're not, you dumb shithead. Like, we are going to be talking about changes made to the, changes to the Game Changer list, talking about cards that we did not act upon just now, going to be talking about cards that we look to ban or unban, right? That's what you want. Ideally, that's what you should want, is you have a group of people taking their time, communicating amongst themselves, communicating with the community at large, with different subsections of the community, letting them flesh out their ideas with, what could be safe, what is not great. And then taking all that, talking about it, building up some cases either for or against these changes, and then we act upon them. Like, just because if I could snap my fingers and make some changes to the format, doesn't mean I should do it. Doesn't even mean I'd want to do it. I want cards like, I would personally want Rhystic Study and Underworld Breach banned. Doesn't mean that I want that to happen immediately. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen. But I would prefer to have the conversation with those that, with the other members of the Commander format panel, with members of the community about making these kind of changes. Taking time. Because yeah, Commander is, like they say, it's a slow moving format. Commander is a format where a change this big may be and likely is disregarded by a majority of the player base. Right? Like how many, like so many players know or had read about the Game Changer list and go, okay, whatever. I mean, Smothering Tithe I'd like banned as well, but Rhystic Study is a bit of an easier sell, in my opinion. Yeah, we're taking our time. Now, if people like, we can hold on. Let me pull some information up in front of me and hide it from all of you until I'm ready to talk about it, because I would like to get my my info here. I think it's in here. I'm hiding this from everyone. I'm not showing the Discord, please, for the love of God. That's the... No, I want to get my list in front of me, because we're about to talk about the Game Changers. And after we talk about the Game Changers, I imagine we are going to talk about the We're going to talk about cards that were not featured on the Game Changer list. Cards that were also not featured in the ban list. And I'd like to use this as an opportunity, once we get there, I would like to use this as an opportunity to... no, that's not what I wanted. I wanted something else. I'd like to use this as an opportunity to maybe, you know, get some better communication with y'all. I'm curious. I mean, it is part of my job to also talk to you. Here it is. Yep. Okay, great. I'm going to block that or unblock that. There's also an appendix for why the cards are banned. This is kind of cool. This is a review of the ban list appendix. I believe this is mostly Gavin and Tim putting this together. I mean, some cards are blocked together because you don't really need to know why Black Lotus is banned. It's Black Lotus. Yeah, these cards don't need a lot of explanation. It would be so funny if they put Paradox Engine on this or like Sylvan Primordial or whatever. Let me get this. Okay. Commander Brackets beta update. Hey everybody, this is Gavin. Hey everybody, Gavin here. We talked about the bracket system, yada yada yada. Commander Brackets beta was something entirely new. We revealed it and eagerly awaited all of your feedback with the initial test at Chicago. We've spent a ton of time pouring through your feedback, watching videos, reading articles, spending time on social media, talking with all of you. Personally, while I haven't been able to respond to every message, I've read them all and I feel like I've learned so much. Yeah, you all don't know what you're talking about. Thank you for all your feedback. It really makes a difference. Overall, I would say that the feedback has been far more positive than negative. People are excited to have something to try for Commander matchmaking. Most of all, it's provided additional terminology to talk about the games they want to play, all while reminding folks the importance of pre-game conversations. Watching it in action in Chicago was wonderful. I had multiple players tell me the brackets led to some of the most evenly matched Commander games we played at a MagicCon yet. I like the bracket system. I'm a fan of the bracket system. I think that there is still some work to be done, which again is widely agreed upon across, well, the format panel, right? It's still in beta. But I have a looser relationship with the bracket system than most because I can talk to people. So I feel like that is something that I can do and that other players that also feel comfortable talking to people can do. And I think that's okay. I think that's a good thing. The brackets, again, they're not like locked in. You can have these conversations. And if the existence of the brackets exist, if the existence of the brackets causes more pregame conversations, then it's doing its job. Mulder yelled at me from across the room. Oh, because the sun moved. I'm going to move her chair into the sun. 1 second. Can't be much of a sun cat if she's not in the sun. But those are just my anecdotes. Let's get to some actual data. In the official survey done for MagicCon Chicago, 87% of people who tried the bracket system said it was helpful in their games. Incredible. The online player pool is another place we looked for that data. I talked with the Moto team, yada, yada, yada. Anywho, this is 87% of the people who have actually tried it said it was helpful. There are also people that tried it and said it didn't do anything. And that's okay. I would say that 87% being positive, with the remaining 13% being it didn't matter or it was bad, is pretty good. Because I can't imagine, the bracket system is wild. I don't know how it would be. I don't know how it wouldn't be. Well, no. How do I want to word this? I don't know how this would be detrimental unless you were playing a deck that nobody wanted to play against, and then that's on you, my guy. We're talking about brackets. I honestly don't want to read all this. Just a whole bunch of brackets. What should brackets be? Where should they exist? Should there be a bracket 3.5, 2.5, etc., etc.? Oh, I guess I should read through some of this. While plenty of it's positive, there's room for clarity, expansion, and refinement. How many brackets should there be? Should the exhibition bracket exist? Is the upgraded bracket too broad? Mass land destruction, tutors, 0.5, etc. We talked through a range of changes in this vein to move some verbiage and goalposts around. However, as we looked into it more, we decided against changing the tiny details of the system so early. While the most involved Magic players may have digested it already, it's taking time to trickle out and be adapted by the broader community. Yeah, you got to understand that a lot of the bracket system is basically used as a communication tool for the people that are terminally online, or at the very least online enough, to be able to then spread that to the folks that have a healthy relationship with the game. Honka honka. Yeah, this takes time. Tons of creators have taken time explaining the system. Sure. Bracket 1. Yeah, I don't actually think I need to read most of this. I could read this, though. Intent of play. When we first rolled out the bracket system, one mistake I believe we made was not to emphasize how important the intent you have for your deck is when selecting the bracket. The Game Changers list and the bracket guidelines got most of the emphasis, and intent sat on the sidelines. However, in terms of importance, those should be flipped. Intent is the most important part of the bracket system. I can't stress this enough. There are certain cards that, regardless of your intent, are going to be problematic, fucked up, or just not something that I want to spend my time interacting with. But there are plenty of cards, some of which we talked about previously, like Gifts Ungiven or Panoptic Mirror, where if you're like, hey, I'm doing this and I'm putting, like, I don't know, Secret Rendezvous on my Panoptic Mirror so everybody draws cards or whatever, then I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. Okay, I'm into it. While there are guidelines to keep in mind when deck building, no game changers in exhibition or core, no mass LD through upgraded, etc., the bracket system is emphatically not just put your deck into a calculator, get assigned a rank, ready to play. I deeply appreciate the tools that websites like Moxfield and Architect have put together to give you an overall estimate. They've done some fantastic iteration to help emphasize intent as well. But I want to stress that any estimate is just an estimate. It's on you to use what you know to label your deck correctly. The Game Changers list exists as a tool to aid pre-game discussion outside of the banned list. Think of it this way. If the banned list is a universal language, then the Game Changer tool, then the Game Changer list is going to be a tool to help you understand the difference between saying, like, I need to piss and I need some piss, right? Like, one lets you communicate on an even plane in the sense of, like, so we all, yeah, I'm pointing to the list on the wall. So it's like, we all agree that's not good. And then you can have 3 other players that don't speak the same language go, great, that's great. What do you mean, what? There's the universal language, which allows people to come together under one rule set and understand what is and isn't allowed as a hard and fast rule. Then the bracket system allows for some more nuance that avoids confusion and avoids jumbled expectations. Similar to how if you were trying to ask, where's the washroom? I need to go pee. And it comes out as, where's the washroom? I need to get some piss for myself, right? 2 very different statements, but in your mind, they could come out the same. Does this make sense? Am I losing it? It sounded better in my head. I tried to think of a better one. I really tried to think of a better one. I really tried. Okay. I can easily build a deck that technically meets all the rules of core, bracket 2, that plays at the power level of optimize, bracket 4, as I'm sure many of you can too. Those tools are helpful directions and guidelines, but ultimately knowing your intent is the most critical piece of this whole thing. You can always bracket decks up, meaning that you can note that your deck meets the description of a core deck, but plays like an upgraded 3. So you should bracket it as bracket 3. If you make a fully tricked out goblin deck that uses no game changers, it's probably not a core deck despite technically meeting the deck building rules. And that's where the descriptions shared in the first article really come into play and why they're vital. They're far more important than just looking down a checklist, making sure your deck doesn't violate the rules. I relayed a lot of my experiences through this lens, where there were a lot of I used 0.5s because it's like, yeah, this deck is technically a 2, and most of the time it can play like a 2, but if I want it to play like a 3, then brother, I can make it play like a 3. Maybe this is a certified autism moment, but like, I've only just realized that there are people out there playing Magic the Gathering that can only play the cards based on what is written on them. Does that make sense? Like, to them, they only know how to play cards in the application of, like, I have this card in my hand. It requires me to take certain game actions and steps, and we'll have this kind of outcome. Instead of being like, oh, well, if I use my Berserk to kill somebody, that might not be the best play experience. So instead, I'm going to change the way I play to use my Berserk for a different, a different game action that will still push me towards winning, but will not immediately win on the spot. Like, is that something? I feel like that's not something that crosses the mind of a lot of players. At least Commander players. And I think that might be because Commander players are not very good at Magic the Gathering. I'm not saying that to be rude. I mean, maybe I'm saying it to be a little rude. I'm saying it to be a little tongue-in-cheek. And I'm also not saying that that's the beauty of Magic the Gathering. You can play it, have a ton of fun, get a lot out of it, and you can be bad at the game. But I worry when players like that start to creep up into shit. I worry when players like that start to creep up into cards in higher brackets where they don't see that a card can be used for multiple applications. I don't really get it yet. Can you give a pissed base comparison? That's what made me cackle. That's good. Red Herring back for the 47th month. I'm more of an exhibition pisser myself, so I had to take Gamble out of my 8-land Belcher deck. Thank you so much for the support. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to just go. We made some changes to the game changer list. Fuck. Yeah, I love using Eladamri's Call to get the coolest custom altar out of my deck. Doesn't need to grab Hoof every time. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, players look at a card and they recognize, like, they only see it through the most optimal play that they can make, rather than looking for like the optimal technical play, or what they deem as the optimal technical play, rather than the optimal experience play. Because they don't see playing Commander as an experience and a game. They just see it as something. They see it as another game to try and win in. And somebody mentioned, Clockwork mentioned it being like a board game, but I also don't, I mean, for me at least, I don't see that. Like, that's not my experience with board games. They need somewhere to be spiky, but hate real formats. And I don't think I don't think a lot of these players are good enough for like proper 60 card constructed formats or like competitive limited. And like, they need to take advantage of the nebulous nature of Commander to pull ahead slightly with some reasonable doubt, if that makes sense. To be clear, I'm not trying to shit on players that are not that great at Magic the Gathering, as long as their intentions are good. If players could read, they'd be very offended. Yes, Sibwell is. I'm not, but my mods are. All right, let's get back on track here. In evaluating the Game Changers list and reading all your feedback, we not only wanted to add cards, but also ensure the initial list was pulling its weight. In reading community feedback, 2 cards generally stood out as out of place to people, and we're taking them off the list today. Trouble in Pairs. The first card being delisted is Trouble in Pairs. This card has certainly emerged as a standout card since it was released about a year ago. And while it can draw a lot of cards, it's on par with some cards that are not on the list. The general feeling is that it is slightly under the bar for the Game Changer list, and that we probably jumped the starting line a little on this one. It's plausible it could get added back to the future as the list evolves and we receive more feedback. So Trouble in Pairs is not Rhystic Study, and it's not Smothering Tithe or whatever. Trouble in Pairs is closer to... it's not Monologue Tax. There's another like white enchantment that was way too much money when it came out. It's like a 2-mana one. Does anybody know the one I'm talking about? I'm just going to put draw and look up white enchantments. I think it's from New Capenna. Smuggler's Share. Is that what it is? I think it's Smuggler's Share. Yeah, it drew a lot of comparisons to Smuggler's Share. Or sorry, I think this card is closer to Smuggler's Share than to Rhystic Study and Smothering Tithe. Smuggler's Share being a 3-mana enchantment that says at the beginning of each end step, draw a card for each opponent who drew 2 or more cards this turn, then create a treasure token for each opponent who had 2 or more lands enter the battlefield under your control this turn. Like, this and this are closer than the cards that than Smothering Tithe and Rhystic Study that Trouble in Pairs often gets compared to. It's going to sound a little condescending to explain to people why Smothering Tithe and Rhystic Study are so good, but it is mostly because those cards are really annoying and they trigger off of taking basic game actions, right? While Trouble in Pairs says like, hey, you attack with 2 or more creatures, you draw a card. It only triggers if they attack you, or you cast 2 or more spells each turn, you draw a card. That's a thing that you can play around and is totally reasonable. You can make plays where you're only playing 1 spell a turn. And even if you play 2 spells a turn, congratulations. It traded for half of this mana value, right? This card needs to draw 3 cards in order for it to be like worth its salt. Or if I draw my second card, something that some decks aren't going to be doing, or they're not going to be doing that often. Cards like Rhystic Study and Smothering Tithe like say like, hey, just a heads up, you draw a card every single turn. Tithe. Oh, you played a spell? You fucking idiot. Draw a card. Like, and in addition to those being incredibly annoying and slowing the game down and being a real pisser for everybody to remember. I mean, it's on the person who controls it to remember, but also sometimes people just draw cards and don't announce it to the table. yeah, it's the I mean, I've expressed my feelings on those cards. Yeah, Trouble in Paris. I don't think this is technically like this is so different from being a game changer. Like it's so different from the cards previously mentioned, the Tithe and the Rhystic Study. I do. There's part of me that just kind of wants them all to be a game changer. Because, like, I don't know. Maybe it's better to have these cards like pop up less. Right? Like, I'm okay with fewer copies of Trouble in Paris existing. It's very annoying. But it's not annoying. It does not trigger from just playing Magic the Gathering. It looks ugly. I mean, yeah, it's got this art has been stolen, correct? This art was plagiarized. Man versus Manatee for the 16th month. Welcome back. Glad to have you. Good to see you. Thank you for gaming. It's great to change here. Well, thank you for changing. It's great to game here. Thank you so much for the support. Glad to have you. Good to see you. Kevon for the 5th month. Welcome back. How you doing? How you been? Thank you so much for all the support. Glad to have you. Good to see you. And Honeyjack for the 3rd year. Holy smokes. How you doing? How you been? Thank you so much for all the support. Glad to have you. Good to see you. Yeah. Trouble in Paris. No longer a game changer. Trinisphere. 3-ball. Very funny. Second card being delisted is Trinisphere. This card is not the most fun card to play against. No denying that. However, it tends to be strongest at the highest power levels like Optimize, bracket 4, and CDH, bracket 5. There are many cards on the level of unfun stacks pieces like Sphere of Resistance, Rule Law, and Nether Void that are on the Game Changers list. And generally, if your deck is trying to lock out other players in a stack style, that's a play pattern that doesn't match the intent of bracket 2 and you should bracket up. If you want to play a single fair Trinisphere, maybe a little frustrating, but ultimately reasonable. Yeah, this card is a lot worse at lower brackets because, well, you're just playing bigger, flashier cards typically. Or it's just, you're not going to be playing them at lower brackets anyways. This is like a CDH card. Or, I mean, I guess Angel has a Triad of Fates deck that is based around the number 3. But maybe that deck should be bracket 3 anyways. Who knows? It's 3-ball. This one was very weird. I think I talked about this in the initial recording of Tap Tap Concede where we talked about brackets and game changers, where it's just like, what is this doing here? Like, this card being a game changer doesn't do anything for it, right? Like, the formats it sees played do not care about the number of game changers. The formats where this is now restricted weren't playing this card anyways. That's it. But now we got a bunch of additions here. Oh. Okay. By far, some of the loudest feedback was to please add more game changers. Is my brain broken, or are these articles written? I don't want to be rude or mean or say anything that could get me in trouble. I feel like some of these are a little, some of this. Maybe it's time to flex the old college diploma, huh? Some of these feel like they needed an editor to go over them. By far, some of the loudest feedback was to please add more game changers. So we looked through everything we were sent, discussed a lot as a group, and solicited suggestions from the Commander design team. Today, we will be adding several cards to the list. They deliberately aren't mentioning the death threats. Well, why would we mention the death threats? That's old news. And the people that receive the death threats certainly don't want to bring them up again. Here are the 18 cards we are adding. Teferi's Protection, Humility, Narset, Intuition, Consecrated Sphinx, Necropotence, Orcish Bowmasters, Notion Thief, Defecting Swat, Gamble, Worldly Tutor, Crop Rot, Seedborn Muse, Natural Order, Food Chain, Aura Shards, Field of the Dead, Mishra's Workshop. I can lay claim to a couple of these cards being added to the Game Changer list. Mishra's Workshop, Natural Order, Worldly Tutor, and Necro. These three are Benny Boy cards. I'll now cover why each one met our bar for inclusion. And I'll let you know which ones that I didn't agree on including. Because, again, there's a large group of people. Actually, I can do you one better. I have the list in front of me. I'm not sharing this with you, but I have the list in front of me. I can also tell you that I voted to have some cards removed. I wanted to add Necropotence. Wow, I didn't add many. I said add Necro, add Worldly Tutor, add Seedborn Muse, add Joda the Unifier, Mishra's Workshop, and Field of the Dead. Teferi's Protection. Some of those were not added, by the way. 2 and a white for... I'm not reading this fucking card. What am I doing? While ultimately a defensive spell, if you want to talk about cards that are quite definitionally... Okay. That's an odd word to use here. Game-changing. This is one of them. It protects you completely, much like Cyclonic Rift. Teferi's Protection saves you from targeting while freely making big plays or attacks without risk. It is certainly a game changer. I don't think this card should have been a game changer. I just don't care. I think that cards that stop people from dying should not be I just don't think that fundamentally they are like worthy game changers. I think gotcha cards are okay. Gotcha cards like this that don't tell a person... I mean, in a way, they tell a person no. If somebody's like casting a big spell to kill everything, you're like, no, I'm saving my stuff. That's okay. The fact that this card is a save all my stuff and fog and do all this, I think is okay. Like, I think this is a fine game changer. I don't want it to be a game changer. I do worry about the game changer list getting a little too bloated, I guess is what I'm saying. And if there is a classification of card to avoid adding to your game changer list, I think cards that stop people from ending the game are okay. But not the fact that this exiles too means they can't really loop it. So I'm okay. I'm okay with this card. I would be okay with this card not being here. I think T-Pro. I don't think Farewell should have been a game changer. It's a 6 mana board wipe. That's okay. It's a 6 mana board wipe. It's really fucking good. I will say that. I just don't think it should be... I don't think a 6 mana board wipe... 6 mana sorcery speed board wipe, I don't think should be a game changer. It does change the game, but also so do many other cards. I think Farewell is a card that is not going to be a game changer by merit of it being closer to cards like Wildfire and other pieces of mass removal that are covered as a part of the format rundown and explanation, if that makes sense. Humility. This card slows the game down to a crawl, disabling everybody's creatures and shutting down a card type that everybody has likely built their deck around. In comparison to Trinisphere, a fair Trinisphere forces people to pay some more mana. Even a fair Humility tossed onto the board will usually make games massively frustrating to play. I don't think Humility should be a game changer because I don't think people play it. I think when it does show up, again, it's just like, okay. I'm going to speak a bit more casually about a lot of these cards, just so we're clear. Don't think it should be a game changer. I don't think I see it at all outside of brackets where you should be expected to deal with cards like this. Like, I don't think this card is showing up in bracket 1, bracket 2, or bracket 3 that often. And there are just many ways of dealing with this card. I don't want the game changer list to become a list of cards that people don't like losing to. Or just like, I don't want it to be a list of like sore spots, you know? Like, they're when somebody's like, what cards do you want on the game changer list? And you're like, And in your head, you're like, well, Sarah played a humility against me, and that really fucked up my board. She didn't win, but I didn't get to have as much fun, and in fact, I had to use a removal spell on it. And then you're like, hey, humility should be a game changer. Oh, I'm talking about a different Sarah. There's like 20 Sarahs running around. You're the funny Sarah. Yeah, I don't understand humility. Narset part avails Orcish Bowmasters and Notion Thief. While punishing additional card draw is a reasonable thing to do in a game of Commander, these are particularly aggravating to encounter. At best, these are frustrating to play against. At worst, they combo with wheels to do nefarious things. Great. Love it. This is, these are fine. Yeah. These cards suck for Commander. Like, they're such shit. It's just, when they combo with twisters and whatnot, they are backbreaking. They end the game. When they don't combo with twisters, they just shut off certain decks entirely or make it really difficult to play. They're the kind of cards that really benefit people that get out ahead and then tell other people it's not okay. They're gotchas for just like parts of the game. Yeah. To hell with these cards. Narset is okay. I can attack her. And these two cards have 1 toughness. Like, you could make arguments towards all of these. Counterpoint, aren't the game changes about unfun play patterns as well? They are, but if you just have a blanket, like, all the cards on here are unfun. There are so many. Magic the Gathering is based around like progressing your game plan and winning games of Magic the Gathering, or putting yourself in a position to win games of Magic the Gathering, are almost always done at the cost of your opponent's enjoyment. Some cards are more blanketed at that, but then if we start loading up on like every card that blanket shuts you out of the game, there are so many fucking cards that get thrown under that, right? Intuition. Intuition is a very strong tutor, giving you 1 card and dumping 2 in the graveyard. While it's not always the exact card of 3 you want, with redundancy, you're usually getting something strong. And it also stocks a graveyard in the process. Combine that with the fact that it could be a 1-card combo in the right deck, brings it up to game changer status. I'm going to level with you. I forgot that this was, I thought this was already a game changer. Like, I thought this was already a game changer. Like, it feels, you know, you could understand, right? You look at this card and you're like, yeah, it's intuition. This card's like $200 because of CDH. This card's a game changer, surely. Yeah, turns out it wasn't. That's fine. Consecrated Sphinx. I did not vote for Consecrated Sphinx, and I had to delete. Well, I didn't actually send it, but I typed out a very probably a post a bit too harsh about Consecrated Sphinx, and I imagine at some point in time I'm going to refine that and bring it to the list. This is a must-kill threat at most commander tables. Untapping with a Sphinx and the 6 or more cards you've drawn by the time it gets back to your turn puts you dramatically ahead. Additionally, the gameplay of other players cloning it and then allowing them to draw each as many cards as they will allow is not the best gameplay. This fits right in as a game changer. This card's 6 mana. I know that's not a ton of mana in Commander, but it's 6 mana in blue. It is a must kill. It's a creature without without protection. I do agree that it is really terrible in multiples because you get a trade secrets interaction. I think I'd rather see this card banned than a game changer, if that makes sense. Like, if I'm worried about this card because it effectively recreates a game state of a card that got banned because, you know, trade secrets, for those that don't know, yeah, sure, let's keep it up the Commander Precon printing. 3 mana sorcery. Target opponent draws 2 cards, and then you draw up to 4 cards. That opponent may repeat this process as many times as they choose. Like, this is just this. You can both be in agreement of like, okay, I'm just going to draw my deck. You draw your deck. Great. We can already do that. Like, I think that if you want to avoid this, I recognize that this requires a bit more than just casting a 3 mana card. But if we're doing this, I would rather just not see this in the format. But whatever. Necropotence. Yeah, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? 3... like, what are we doing? Though it does cost triple black to cast. Oh, let me tell you about a little card I like to call Dark Ritual. Though it does cost triple black to cast, once down, the ability to turn as much of your 40-point life total into cards as you want is extremely powerful. This has been one of the most requested additions. We are happy to add it to the list. It's Necropotence. Deflecting Swat. Strong free counter magic made the list previously, and this often does the job of free counter magic and more. It's deserving a spot on the list. I disagree. I actually really dislike Deflecting Swat. Being on here, I think it's cool. I think this is a card that gets a lot. This is the kind of card that I would rather have freely available as a protect your commander tool. Like this to me is the kind of card that you play if you have a 6 mana commander. Right? You have an expensive commander, you play a Deflecting Swat. And it's a redirect. Like, you get some pog moments with this card. I just like this card, right? I like having cards that protect things. I think this card gets a lot of flack, not just because it's free. Like, that's kind of egregious. These cards should all have required you to, like, I don't know, pitch a card or do something, because they're just free. But, and not to mention, like, this one in particular it's a card that has a very specific set of circumstances. Like, it is dead some amount of the time. I'm just okay with having this run around. Yeah, I'm okay with this, especially for big mana commanders. Gamble, Crop Rot, and Worldly Tutor. The lower brackets do carry the restriction of few tutors already. However, 1 mana tutors that can search up a wide array of cards are some of the most efficient out there, like Imp Seal, Mystical Tutor, and others that are on the line. We may be revising the notes around tutoring on brackets in the future, but for the time being, want to get these 3 large swings on the list. Worldly Tutor I was supportive of. I pushed for this card as one of the tutors to get added to this. It's 1 mana. Top of the deck is whatever. You find whatever you want, you kill them. Crop Rot's a little weird considering we've already added like all of the big problematic lands to this list. Like Feel the Dead's on here. You know, we have Workshop already. We have Tabernacle, Gaia's Cradle, Sarah's Sanctum. What's the highest cost commander I play? Oh, you don't want to get into a highest cost commander matchup when your opponent is Benny Wheels and he's got his Aname as one deck. You don't want this smoke. Well, eat this little carrot umbrella. Like, Glacial Chasm is already a game changer. Feels wild. And then Gamble. I think Gamble is more fun than anything. I mean, I get it. Gamble's very powerful. But I feel like Gamble is just really fun. Right? And I hate to restrict this from lower brackets. Because just like, I don't know. This card is hilarious. It creates so many memorable moments. And I'd hate to see those restricted. Seedborn Muse. Yeah, I pushed this card because it's messed up. It's Seedborn Muse. 5 mana. Wait, I keep wanting to. I see a card in front of me and I start reading it. This card causes you to take what is essentially, when built properly, 3 additional turns worth of effects each turn cycle. It also causes one player to take a disproportionate amount of time and win the game. It's worth calling out that, yes, Seedborn Muse was just in the Absent Armor deck from Tarkir. First, this was finalized long before the commander brackets existed. Second, I'll use this moment to remind that Core, bracket 2, is on the level of an average modern-day pre-con deck. That doesn't mean there can't be some variance there. We are looking at updating the terminology in the future to pull away from pre-con commanders as a benchmark, as we understand that has caused some confusion. I just want to be clear, we all know about the collision in Dragonstorm to avoid a mixed message. Yeah, fuck Seedborn Muse. This card's super powerful, really annoying, easy to build around. Like, what are we doing? I don't know. It's a little Lindt chocolate. I'm going to read the back of this. Not bad. Not as bad as I thought. Not as bad as I thought. Actually, a lot less sugar than I expected. For 2 of these. I'm only going to have... I'll have 2 today. I'll have 1 now and I'll have 1 after work. Very tasty. Well, the problem with precon level at bracket 2 is that precons are only going to get better, right? And they don't want to be locked into that. Natural Order. This was a Benny Wheels edition. This is one of the strongest ways you can cheat out big creatures early. Natural Order cheats mana and acts as an efficient tutor all in one. Our conversation about Natural Order was a funny one because I was like, we were talking about, you know, creature tutors and green being underrepresented on the Game Changer list. And I was reading through all that and thinking like, okay, this is pretty good conversation, but like everybody's just talking about finding Craterhoof or finding like Coma or some big green creature that takes over the game. Like, surely Natural Order already covers all this. Then I looked at the Game Changer list and Natural Order wasn't there. I'm like, all right, hold on. Everybody stop. Natural Order is just the best. Like, come on. Like, NO is right here. This is the turn 2, turn 3 Atroxa, you know, find your big idiot, find your Craterhoof Behemoth for 4 mana card. This is such a power outlier and design outlier. We need to get rid of this. Food Chain. Oh my God. People tend not to play fairly with Food Chain. It mostly fuels infinite combos, and while those are kept out of the first 2 brackets, it still feels worth calling out and limiting as a game changer slot for bracket 3. I was kind of against Food Chain, but also whatever. Food Chain very rarely sees play below these game changer brackets anyways. But I guess, you know, it's fine. Like, this card is at its best when it's in CDH or high-powered commander. It feels a little weird. This has big, I just lost to food chain and I need to complain about it vibes. This is one that I'm going to be bringing up with the rest of the commander format panel as well. Because I don't entirely agree with this one. Like, it's a powerful card. People usually play it with fucked up things. But it's also a weird card because it's like the namesake of a strategy of the deck. So there's a certain communication with what's going on. Like, if you throw food chain into your deck, then who cares? Right? You're not coming with the infinite combo. If you throw the combo in your deck, then you have a 2-card infinite combo that already pushes your deck into bracket 3 with game changers. It just feels like it was suggested. People are like, oh yeah, I lost to this last week. Fuck this card. And then it got locked in. Okay, have a good transgender climb. Aura Shards. While it's important to have limiters on artifacts and enchantments in games of Commander, some cards can go overboard. Aura Shards is a permanent source of removal, consistently destroying build-around cards, mana rocks, and even the odd creature. Many popular archetypes have trouble fighting through an Aura Shards, especially since it's a color pair full of putting creatures on the board. While a one-shot sweeper like Vandal Blast is totally reasonable, this persistent effect of the game is something we want to hit. Why does it look weird? Because typically the border is a lot darker and the artwork is darker on the older printing, but on the Commander printing, it uses a new border and it's brightened up a bit. Yeah, I'm okay with this card, actually. I feel like Aura Shards is a card that people misevaluate, and it just, like, I don't know, if I sit down and I'm just playing an artifact deck and people just Aura Shards me, it's so fucked up, right? Like, it is just not, like, and people, the wild thing is, they can say no, and people don't, right? That's the thing with Aura Shards, is that it's a may, and so you could be in spots where it's like, hey, the only things on the board are mana rocks. Why would you blow up mana rocks? Like, don't blow up mana rocks. We're trying to play the game. And people are like, well, what artifacts are in play? Oh, let me see. It's your mana rock. Okay, I'll blow that up. It's like, but why? Why? I think I'm okay with this being on a game changer list because it literally invalidates whole archetypes, and it's too good. It's a fucked up older card. Right? EK for the 17th month. I am cautiously concerned about the gifts unbanned, but I am 10 out of 10 no notes on literally everything else. Great work to you and the team. Well, thank you, EK. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the kind words and the support. My thing about gifts, not to cover it again, but are you really scared about gifts, or do you just wish Underworld Breach was banned? Like, are we scared about gifts ungiven being too good? Or do we really just wish that Underworld Breach and Thassa's Oracle were not in our format? Field of the Dead. It takes so little for a land to be strong. Though it only makes colorless mana and enters tapped, getting Field of the Dead online incredibly easy. Once you do that with fetch lands, additional land drops, and more, this land can churn out 3 or more zombies in a turn. Zombie tokens a turn, which doesn't sound too wild until you consider that, once again, it's a land. These zombies protect your life total, close out games. It was strong enough to make game changers list for us. Yeah, this card is just unbelievable. I don't understand how casual players look at this card and think it's okay. I really don't get it. Like, this is a card. I do think that the hype around Field of the Dead is a bit too much. Another, like, I mean, I haven't played a lot of Gladiator recently. I'm kind of bummed out on that format right now. But I do think that Gladiator or Field of the Dead should probably be unbanned from Gladiator. But this card is just like, people have a real hard time evaluating this. Because they look at it and go like, oh, it's not so bad. Like, it's really good, but it's not that bad. And it's like, well, it's a land. Like, the cost of inclusion is pretty low. Especially in Commander, where you're poo-pooed for mass land destruction. Land destruction in general are like blood moons, you know? Mishra's Workshop. This was a Benny Wheels edition. Though not highly played due to its difficulty to acquire, a land that taps for 3 mana for artifacts definitely meets some of the restrictions we put on fast mana blogs on the Game Changer list. Yeah, this is mostly for consistency. Workshop is unreal. It's so good, especially in Commander. If you are an artifact deck with artifact, especially with an artifact commander, ooh, doggy. It's messed up. Are you people arguing about something, or are you talking about Field of the Dead? This card is really good. It's not, what I'm saying is that when you have a format where there's an agreement that you are allowed to address Field of the Dead, then it is not as good as you may think. If you do not address Field of the Dead, then this card runs away and wins the game. Right? At a very low cost of inclusion. The longer a game goes on. But there are ways to get around that, right? There is a competitive decision in how you build your deck to address Field of the Dead, to circumvent Field of the Dead, to be able to deal with cards like Field of the Dead or whatever. But a lot of that doesn't work in Commander. Because then people just complain. They're like, "Oh, you blew up my land." And it's like, yeah, because it was fucked up. Did you see it? Yeah. Card's not changed. I also wanted to take some time to talk about the things that weren't put on or taken off and why. Reading through community feedback, there have been a ton of cards mentioned, and we wanted to get to some of those today. The first I want to tackle categorically are legendary creatures. Originally, we had a couple of others flagged for inclusion. However, ultimately, there are a lot of powerful commanders out there. Your commander is the one face-up thing everybody knows about before the game starts. It's an easy road to start adding Corvold, Edgar, Ur-Dragon, Joda, Atraxa. Before you know it, a ton of your favorite commanders are on the list. I mean, good. Before adding more commanders from not being on any list of the Game Changer list, we want to do more work on the philosophy around what makes a commander a game changer. To be transparent, my current leading idea is that the commander is a game changer if it creates play patterns or game constraints that are unfound and overwhelmingly powerful, or if it qualifies by virtue of being a game changer in the other 99 cards of a commander deck. A commander that just is incredibly powerful that would not qualify the game changer list. So in this world, cards like Turgid and Grand Arbiter would remain on the list because of the experience they engender, while cards like Yuriko and Urza would likely come off because they're solely about power. Yeah. This is something we would love feedback on, and we have elected to not take any action commanders at the time. You will likely see some changes in the next update to the Game Changers list. Now they're talking about specific cards. Farewell. This is an incredibly powerful and catch-all board wipe. It can be frustrating to have the game reset in this fashion. However, as a 6-mana reset button, it also does help curb people getting out of hand just the same. It's a card we have our eye on, but we do not place it as a game changer currently. I'm trying to remember if we voted for this or just talked about it. I think we just talked about it. I said my piece on this card. I don't think this card should be a game changer. I think that... Oh, we did vote on it. I voted against it. Yeah, this card sucks. But also, whatever. I don't know. It's, yeah, it sucks, but I don't think it should be a game changer. But maybe it should be a game changer because it sucks. Who knows? Ooh. Alms Collector? I'm not even going to dignify this with reading. Mana Drain. Yeah. It is certainly a powerful counterspell. This is the strongest in the mid to late game, acting as a counterspell that gives you a mana boost. While both of those things are powerful, one-time surge of mana can be fun and is unlikely to warp a game when it happens later in the game. I mean, I kind of disagree. I don't think Mana Drain should be banned. I could see it being a game changer. This one, I'm more into it being a game changer than not. But I feel like Drain gets kind of dealt with by... It's just so infamous. If that makes sense. Hi Ben, genuine question. Notice you're on the Commander format panel. I'm wondering how that has been and how you individually play a role in a panel other than the decisions around game changers. It has been cool and good. I enjoy it. I, like many other people, talk about potential changes, talk about communication and communication methods, and discuss directions for the format and our unique takes on the format and the play groups we are involved with. I hope that helps. Mystic Remora, we talked about this card a good deal. Ultimately, the feeling that this is strongest at the table is a high power magic, weaker at the lower brackets as it stood. Still a card on the radar. We do not add it this time. Yeah, I was against adding Mystic Remora because this is only it's very similar to Trinisphere, basically. When I played that bracket 4 deck against the bracket 3, 2, and 1, and I had Mystic Remora out, I'm like, this card does fucking nothing. All these people are just playing stupid creatures every turn. Force of Will. Card is currently on the list. We talked about removing. We elected to leave it for now, but it does put you down a card. Still incredibly powerful. I voted to get Force of Will off the list. I like free counter magic. Please give me free counter magic. I like using free... Again, this is intent when this card comes up. This is also intent with it as a game changer. I like using Force of Will as a way to prevent people from, casting a fucking lethal Finalia Devastation or some big game-changing spell, wink, on like turn 4 or 5. And I like having tools that let me do that without me feeling like an idiot for tapping out on turn 4. Right? Yeah, I'm a blue player. But I like to have tools for everybody hoofing and Torment of Hail firing and whatever bullshit they're casting without me feeling like an idiot for trying to play to the board. And like, you can have this card not as a game changer and also just say like, it's bracket 2. I don't need a Force of Will. It's bracket 3. Because I think that this card also gets a lot better as the power level of the format scales up. Kind of similar to Trinisphere and Friends. But I'm also okay having this card untethered at bracket 3. Because at bracket 3, people start doing things that are pretty bad. Do we just put free counter magic in a bucket? I think maybe like you could put free spells into that. Right? Like free spells in the same bucket as tutors or extra turns. Because, you're going to have people that have an uncharitable take on that where they're like, yeah, I guess I'm going to put Resplendent Silence on my list. Like, that kind of thing. But like, for people that aren't being dinguses on purpose, they will recognize that like, hey, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have too many free spells. Maybe I shouldn't have too many tutors, even if some of those tutors are terrible. And that a lot of the time, they're saying like, hey, don't play too many tutors. Is like, what's the word that we use? We have a word that we use in house regarding like limited tutors. Like a tutor, you kind of have to get into the discussion of what's worse, a cheaper tutor that can only find so many cards or a slightly more expensive tutor that can find anything, right? There's a push and pull there. I like free counter magic. Other people don't like free counter magic, and you're wrong. You're wrong. Get over it. Quit trying to play fucking Torment of Hailfire. Or like whatever bullshit. End the game. Stop it. Stop it. We're here to play our bad Kamigawa commanders, and I need something. You wanna tether my Force of Will to a game changer point? Sure. I bet you wish you let me have Force of Will while somebody's casting Farewell. I'm not having a second carrot. I'm saving that carrot for marriage. Twister and Wheel. These are powerful rates for these effects, and rate can have an impact on cards such as DT, and other DT is not on there. However, these cards are often fun when played on their own. It's not in conjunction with cards like Notion Thief and Narset. Our hope is that by knocking these down, by knocking down the strongest of these, it will reduce the unfun things they do. And if you want to use these in your next star deck along under World Dreams, that's still fine. Sure, whatever. People will force will your Kamigawa commander. Let them, then I won't play with them anymore. Yeah, Force isn't the bad guy. I'm stopping the bad guy. I'm the good guy. I'm the hero. Grade Pact and Dictate of Erebos. Yeah, these cards are kind of fucked. but like, you know. There's a lot, even though these are not as temporary as, say, cards like Cyclonic Rift or whatever. Like, they don't, you know, set yourself up to end the game or reset the game. They, I don't know. I think these are probably worse than Humility. These cards are also kind of in the camp of like, yeah, they suck ass to play against and with, but like, are we really going to do that for every single card on the list? Necrodominance is not Necropotence. Craterhoof Behemoth. It is certainly true that this card can end games. However, for an 8-mana green creature, it's an acceptable way to end the game. Cheating it out early with NO is a problem. Long game Craterhoof is something we believe is acceptable. I mean, yeah, the game's got to end. Game's got to end. This is, I guess this also ties back into the, like, I wish Commander players were better at Magic the Gathering. Or at least had a better, like, I wish they valued their time more. I got an idea. Instead of all of this, we implement a new program where we take Commander players and we get them a job. We get them a romantic partner and we teach them how to play Magic the Gathering. Then they will start to value their time, value other people's time, and understand that, hey, maybe I don't need to force will this Craterhoof Behemoth. I just let this happen, end the game, and I go home to my fucking husband and child, and I get to, like, be okay with that. I don't know. There's a bunch of other cards. There's a bunch of green cards, and there's a Soul Ring. I mean, I'll talk about them. They're all green tutors. We want to hit Natural Order because of its ability to tutor anything for 4 mana directly into play. These tutors find something that are not nearly as efficient of a rate. Yeah, I was against all these. I'm more scared of Natural Order than any of these. Even though Quarter Calling's fucked up, Finale's fucked. Like, these are all really good cards, but I'm not as terrified. They don't cheat on mana. They cheat on efficiency, right? But they, I mean, Cord can kind of cheat on mana, but that's okay. You can cheat a little bit as a treat. I think that's a plot in Mad Men. I just started season 3. Tooth and Nail. This card costs 9 mana. Defense of the Heart. This takes some time. And it's an enchantment. And it's telegraphed. And you can just, you know. No. Defense of the Heart as an inclusion. I'm glad that we didn't vote it through. But Defense of the Heart is one of those cards that you look at and you're like, oh yeah, somebody fired off a Scryfall search for every card that searches up. They went to Scryfall and they went search creature battlefield. And then they're like, these cards are getting put on that list. Soul Ring. Because every time anything about Commander pops up, we have to fucking talk about Soul Ring. There's been some discourse around whether Soul Ring should be a game changer and if all decks should be allowed one game changer. While we're not doing system level changes at this time, I want to reemphasize what I said in the previous article that Soul Ring is a huge face of Commander handed down from Sheldon himself. We are not planning to change or restrict it at this time. In terms of the every deck gets one game changer discussion, an important piece of the game changers list involves creating a safety bubble. If you don't want to have to play against Rhystic Study, Tithe, or Cyclonic Rift, you have a bracket you can play or you won't. Allowing everybody to play one flies in the face of that. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You people need to get Force of Willed. I'm sick and tired of all you people casting spells and playing mana and just acting like you should be allowed to get you need to get Force of Willed. Your shit needs to stop. I've had it up to here. You could just recast Corvold in like a turn. Don't worry. Yeah, it's Soul Ring. We're not doing anything to Soul Ring. I can't imagine us ever doing anything to Soul Ring. Making a change to Soul Ring, like banning it or putting on the game changer list. It's like if Pikachu became a really powerful broken Pokemon in like competitive play, they would not do shit. It's the mascot. Soul Ring is basically the mascot of Magic the Gathering right now. It's in every pre-con. It's not going away. We're too far gone. Accept it. You can play it. You don't play it. Maybe what you should do. Here's a here's a recommendation. Here's a hashtag sponsored by the Commander Format Panel recommendation. Sit down with some people to play some Commander. Ideally like bracket 1 or 2. And just lie to them. Tell them, like, draw your opening 7, go like, oh shit, I got a Soul Ring in my opener, so I'm just going to put this, I'm going to shuffle it back in. Because I don't want to, why would I want a Soul Ring early? I think that sucks. Just lie to them. Fucking lie to them, dude. And if you do that, maybe they will think like, oh, wow, I should do that. You can guilt trip them into thinking that if they keep their Soul Ring, they're a bad person. Have you talked to some of these players? They're so mentally fucking unwell. They'll believe you. Dude, they'll believe you. You could just gaslight them. I'm not going to keep this hand. It's got a Soul Ring in it. And I don't want to be seen as a dickhead. He just put it away. Yeah, it's what like a what's there's like a subreddit for this where it's like a something life hack. Yeah, that's the best part. Unethical life tip. Thank you. That's what it was. Yeah, that's the best part. I don't want to be seen as a dickhead, says the person gaslighting the table. By saying you don't want to be seen as a dickhead while you're being a dickhead, you are gaslighting them even more. That's the double gaslight. This is the official position of the This is the official position of the Commander Format Panel. Gaslight the table into putting that Soul Ring away. Or, better yet, when people play their Soul Ring early, and they like play it on turn 1 or turn 2, this is your time to shame them. Shaming them works so well. They play a Soul Ring, you go, oh, you kept your Soul Ring in your opener? We all put ours back. Because that's polite? Huh. Okay, interesting. And then you look at them in the eye and you chuckle while you say this. You go, you're not very good with people, are you? And then you just go back. Wow, you don't get out much, huh? Just... Yeah, give him a little peck on the cheek. Yeah, I've always thought Commander needed more negging. Oh, okay, hold on. We're almost done. Next steps. We want to give the brackets and the updated list of game changers time to soak in and settle. While we do anticipate making nudges to the game changers list in the future, a massive addition like you've seen today is not something we generally want to do. Our goal today was to expand upon what was laid out, then see what the community's response is. We want to just let those sit for a while. You shouldn't expect anything until sometime after MagicCon Las Vegas, around June 20th to 22nd. In the meantime, we would like to use the remainder of the year to focus on writing and crystallizing Commander brackets and game changer philosophy, listen, and build out the bracket system further with some eventual small tweaks. And then return to regular, more typical communications with you all. And if you're wondering about future bans and unbans, there will be no more. Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, so this is the full updated game changers list. This includes the cards that we added, the cards that got unbanned today, and also reflects some of the cards that were removed. Then there's a bunch of this, and my name's here. Where does this go? This goes to Blue Sky? Wait, hold on. One of you immediately went to Blue Sky about gaslighting? I do think we should gaslight Commander players a bit more. Especially if they're vulnerable and... All right. Let's call it there. I mean, I guess by calling it there, I mean, does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that they would like to talk about regarding the game changers, anything they'd like to talk about regarding the bans, excuse me. I feel like I've been talking for 3 hours. Good update. I feel like it's a mistake to not have Taint Pact and Consult on the list. Well, we should just ban Thoracle. What's for lunch? I don't have any food. I have to go. I don't have any food. I'm going to have to go. Oh, I might have yogurt. I have some yogurt. Workshop and Tabernacle, but not Bazaar. Nobody has taste. Can you have Grizzle Daddy back? God, no. Disagree with Sol Ring and Raphellos? What? Oh, Raphellos should stay banned. Are you nuts? That's the wildest thing. Raphellos is so unbelievable. I'll reiterate, people do not play Lightning Bolt. People do not play, they play more spot removal, but they don't play cheap spot removal. Like, Raphellos is unbelievably powerful, is a power outlier, is fucked up in the command zone, and is honestly pretty cracked in the 99 still. Untapping, yeah, if you only had Forests and Raphellos, and on turn 3, you got to add 6 mana, that's pretty messed up. And that's just Forest plus Raphellos that you always have in your command zone. Now let's factor in additional cards. Cards that untap Raphellos. Cards that can also ramp. Sol Ring. You know, like so many other cards that we can add. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, and Sol Ring's just never going anywhere. I mean, on one hand, I don't even know if we should include Sol Ring in here. They're going to do it because it's for the sake of communication, but I kind of wish we would just pretend Sol Ring didn't exist. Like, it's not going anywhere, and it's kind of just a waste of time. Our time and effort is better spent discussing other cards, frankly. Scape Shift considered? No. There's not really a Scape Shift kill that ends the game. I want Omni on the GC list because somebody show and tell Omni'd me. Yeah, that's... please refer to humility and food chain as the... I just got killed by this and this was fucked up. Can we please talk about this? Sol Ring is fucked up and calling it Pikachu is a bad faith argument that avoids all discussion. Well, then what are we doing? What are we talking about here? Put it on the table, I love TARDIS. What are we talking about here? It is the mascot of the game It's the mascot of Commander, and Commander is Magic. Whether you like it or not, that's the case. And that is the direction the company and the game is going. You can enjoy other things. Other things are very still important. Other formats, other ways of playing. It's the beauty of the game. Just because the main company is all dedicated to VGC doesn't mean you can't play Smogon or singles or whatever. Right? Like, Sol Ring isn't special? Do you hear what you're saying? So Sol Ring is special. It's the card. Commander is the Sol Ring format. It's from Alpha. It's legal in Commander. It's been legal in Commander since the beginning. It's in every pre-con. It is the mascot. Give you your Jeweled Lotus back? No. Jeweled Lotus is a phony. Jeweled Lotus is bullshit. It's fake. It lacks the pedigree. It's forced. Like, why is it special? It's special because it has pedigree. It's special because it's what the format was based around for a very long time and has been acknowledged by the creators of the format previously, the curators of the format current, and the company that makes the format. That's why it's special. It is special because it is so intrinsically associated with Commander. I would argue that if you polled 1,000 people and asked them what card comes to your mind when you think about Commander, Sol Ring is the one that pops up. Right? Isn't in every pre-con? Which pre-con? You better tell me more than 5 pre-cons. Like, you better, if you're going to tell me, I want to hear 5 to 10 pre-cons. The Dom U 5-color deck. Okay, that's 1. And frankly, it should have been in that deck. You know that it's excluded from that deck to just be like, hey, check it out. This deck doesn't have Sol Ring. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah, it's Sol Ring. It's okay. It's fucked up. Let it be fucked up. That can be fun. It could be something we can all bond over. Yeah, Sol Ring does it naturally. Right? Jeweled Lotus was invented by Big Magic to sell packs. Thoracle. I think Thoracle's a game changer. I don't actually remember. I don't know. I don't play a lot of CDH, and when I do, or I don't play, Thoracle's not the kind of card that I play. I don't actually think. Oh, yeah, it is. Thoracle's not the kind of card I play outside of CDH, I guess is what I should say, or can later. I mean, mono blue, I did actually build an Inga Rune-Eyes deck that just mills itself the old-fashioned way. This 97-year-old this 97-year-old Inga Rune-Eyes deck mills itself the old-fashioned way. Where you just draw your deck like manually and then play your Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, I don't know. It 5-color precon had taxing. See, this is the thing that pops up. Sol Ring would still be good in that deck. You know why? Because there's a rule in the game that says you can recast your commander any number of times as long as you pay an additional 2 generic mana every time you play it. It's not a fun play pattern. No, I know it's not a fun play pattern. But again, fun play pattern, being an unfun play pattern does not single-handedly land a card onto the game changer list. Not to mention the card itself, like there is some plausible deniability in that the card itself does not does not lead to, you know, the unfun play patterns, right? Sol Ring makes the commander experience in that worse. Therefore, it should be restricted in some way. Yeah, but you're thinking about it too much, like the word you use. You're thinking about the play experience too much. Is that the existence of Sol Ring and the importance of Sol Ring circumvents the play experience, right? Like, yeah, an early Sol Ring is terrible to play against, and sometimes is even terrible to play with. But that isn't the be-all, end-all of a card being... Like, that isn't the be-all, end-all of the value of a card for either format identity or, well, format identity, parentheses, community, and format identity, parentheses, making money. Right? Isn't the be-all, end-all of it either? Yeah, it's a combination of things. And I'm saying all of the different facets that I've laid out that make Sol Ring an important piece of Commander, if not the defining piece of Commander, outweigh any of the other complaints. And that is a stance that Wizards of the Coast has been public on and lines up with me on that. And they said it's not going anywhere. So this is why I'm saying that it's a waste of time to really dig deep into Sol Ring, because they've told us from, like, fucking Moses has come down with the 2 tablets that are saying, hey, this card's going to be here forever. Two facets was there before and is every deck. Every deck is a negative that they normally ban things for, and was there before isn't good. Why? What do you mean? You telling me pedigrees, like, elaborate on that? Because to me, pedigree is pretty important. Format identity is pretty important, because the was there before, as in this is what the format was kind of based on and grounded in, gives it identity and gives it history, which is inherently going to give it importance. Whether or not you agree, that is something that gives the format importance. Being able to point at something and says it's been around there for a long time is often enough to get people on your side, right? And same with is in every deck. Pedigree is a good chunk of how Braids came off the banned list. Sol Ring is literally never getting banned, and getting mad about it is only wasting your own time and energy. Yeah. Yes. It's not, nothing's changing. Tell me why Mana Crypt is banned? I don't think Mana Crypt should be banned. Or sorry, initially I didn't think Mana Crypt should be banned. But once that Band-Aid has been ripped off, it's okay. Right? Like, it is, if I was the single individual dictating the changes, I would have never banned Mana Crypt. But now that Mana Crypt is banned, and we are in a world where Mana Crypt is banned, the most difficult part of that process was actively banning it. But now that we are in a post-Mana Crypt world, the quality of life is a lot better. And you could do that because Mana Crypt is not Sol Ring. Because Mana Crypt is not the mascot of the format. Because Mana Crypt does not have the, frankly, the branding, does not have the prestige. It doesn't have the ubiquity, which I've seen people use this as a bad thing. But that's a factor. Yeah, you just shame the turn 1 Soul Rings and you move on. Or you just don't include it in your deck and you tell other people not to include it in their deck. That's okay. You talk to your play group. My cat's screaming. You happy now? Doesn't have the panache? Yeah, Mana Crypt, like Mana Crypt's kind of like Jeweled Lotus. It doesn't have the swagger. Also, cost is worth mentioning, right? Soul Ring is dirt cheap. It's important to give people that don't have a lot of means the ability to have a little piece of that power, you know? I agree with everything you were saying. I wish Commander had a different mascot. Yeah, same. Like, if I could go back in time and ban Soul Ring, I probably would. I think that would lead to a healthier format long term. But I don't think you can pave over 20 years of format history, even more, like 30 years of format history, with this as, again, the mascot. I just don't think it's a smart decision for optics. I don't think it's a smart business decision. Why does it need a mascot? Because it's your moneymaker. Because it's your guy. Mascots are fun. They lead to identity. They lead to people making connections. Right? That's cool. And it's good for business. Your moneymaker Soul Ring is $1. That's not a moneymaker. Man, are you just, Mage Power, are you just going to sit and chat and give a dog shit reading of everything I'm going to say? Extrapolate from that. I'm not saying exactly Soul Ring, that card that is $1 that every Soul Ring sold has that cash go directly into the pocket of WotC. I'm saying that Soul Ring and what it represents as Commander, and it will always represent Commander because it has been doing so for the past 35 years, and WotC has said that that's not going to change moving forward. Soul Ring is Commander, and Commander is your moneymaker. Also, for what it's worth, Soul Ring does sell a lot of product. It's more than just a copy of Soul Ring being $1 or whatever. Think of all the secret layers with Soul Ring. Think of all the fucking MagicCon promos with Soul Ring. Think of all the like LGS promos with Soul Ring. It gets people playing the game. It gets people coming out and experiencing the community. Gets people buying the product. Like, if you put a Commander product without a Soul Ring, would people buy it, true or false? See, now I know that you're not actually looking to have a conversation here. Yeah, get big Ben Shapiro energy. Hypothetically, if you were selling a pre-con, it's time to stop feeding the troll. You got to understand though, with a community like this, there's always an opportunity for it to not be a troll and just be tism. So I would like to get through to that because I want to, you know, I'm not like on Shivam levels of engaging with every bad faith actor, but I do sometimes want to get down to the bottom of this, you know. Found it surprising Channel was on the It's So Obvious It's Not Worth Playing. Channel is an absolutely busted Magic card. Like, Channel is a card that is banned in Legacy, restricted in Vintage, like, gets even stronger in Commander by the nature of a 40 mana life, like 40 mana life, 40 life point. Like, it's fucked. Yeah, a new segment on the channel, Trollardism. I mean, it could be a little bit of both. Lord knows I have my origins. It's hardly a Soul Ring. I believe Soul Ring not being banned is just big CAG farming engagement from us. Oh yeah, fill me up, daddy. There's a lot of, please give us feedback. I'm trying to be vocal about the things I disagree with, but at the end of the day, it's whatever. I mean, I'm not going to, just because I disagree with some of the takes that people have doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to go to the Discord and be like, yep, everybody liked it, right? I am going to pass that on. It's about how you're conducting yourself, right? I get that I have the upper hand here and that I'm the one in front of a camera with people that are paying me money to be in front of that camera. Eggs, and that I'm the one that you're going to have to trust to relay that to, you know, the Discord. But, like, that is a part of my job. I'm older. Oh, you moved out of the sun. It is a part of my job, right? So it will get passed on as long as you are conducting yourself in a way that is, well, coherent and in good faith. That's all the sunlight I can get. There you go. Got to make sure my cat has enough sunlight. Oh. Oh no. Oh, my pre-modern cards. Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm going to, you know, my takes on this are the be-all, end-all. That should already be obvious. And just because I think you're wrong doesn't mean you shouldn't voice your opinion. It's if I think you're wrong and stupid. And then I'll let you know if that's the case. Is Panoptic Mirror fairer in lower brackets? Yes. Guardianship, or we voted on Force of Negation, but nobody wanted it to be a game changer. I mean, I could talk about some of the other cards, right? It's worth noting that just because these cards were brought up doesn't necessarily mean that that there was serious consideration, right? It's just the nature of a conversation like this is that you go like, hey, what about this card? How do we feel about this card? This card, like card A, fits this kind of these parameters that we've set, even if it is either temporary or less efficient. What about that? Like Dark Ritual. We talked about Dark Ritual. Somebody brought up Dark Ritual. Because, like, think about it, right? It is fast mana. It's fast mana that plays well into cards like Yawgmoth's Will and Underworld Breach. It's fast mana that gets a bit of a pass. It's Dark Ritual, right? Talked about like Force of Negation, a free counterspell. We've been talking about free counterspells. Talked about, I'm trying to think of things that we talked about that didn't get added. I mean, we talked about cards like Time Sieve, Entomb, Sylvan Tutor. We talked about some stuff. We did talk about Bazaar of Baghdad. I know it's not on the list, but we did talk about Bazaar of Baghdad. And I'm not going to dox the people that voted one way or the other, but other than myself, I did not vote for Bazaar of Baghdad. Although I did play I played my Bazaar of Baghdad on the CAG stream, or the RC stream a long time ago. Also, worth mentioning, it's a game, like, again, the Game Changers, you could do whatever you want. You don't necessarily have to, even though it's like, hey, if your deck has a Game Changer in it, you might be a redneck. I've already made that joke, but we've been talking about this for 3 hours. But it's, I don't know. If somebody came up to me and they're like, hey, my deck's bracket 2 or bracket 1, but I have like a Game Changer in here or 2 Game Changers, I don't give a shit. Sure, why not? Who cares? Did Nexus of Fate get talked about? I will talk about here are the cards that we discussed, but did not successfully vote through, that were also just not mentioned here. And it's worth noting that they were likely not mentioned here because there was not enough of a push in either way to discuss them. Esper Sentinel, Flawless Maneuver, Personal Tutor, Force of Negation, Time Spiral, Displacer Kitten, Dark Ritual, Deadly Rollick, Black Market Connections, Possibility Storm, Perforos God of the Forge, Rograk, Simian Spirit Guide, Elvish Spirit Guide, Protean Hulk, Constant Mists, Carpet of Flowers, Sylvan Tutor, Sylvan Library, Doubling Season, Guardian Project, Exploration, War Leader's Call, Time Sieve, a series of multicolored commanders that were previously mentioned, Ashnod's Altar, Phyrexian Altar, Altar of Dementia, Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, Sensei's Divining Top, Void Winnower, Roaming Throne, Mox Amber, Blightsteel Colossus, Strip, Wasteland, Metalworker, Grand Abolisher, Collector Oof, Chains of Mephistopheles, Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, Bazaar of Baghdad. Because you know what? It's our job to talk about cards. So we talk about a lot of fucking cards. We talk about so many cards. Even if some of these got 0 votes. It's just like, hey, how do we feel about this card? This card just doesn't do anything. Like, it stops people. It's like, whatever. Hey, how do we feel about this card? Like, if we're talking about cards that tax people, what about Void Winnower? Void Winnower is kind of like an Iona or whatever. It's like, well, no. Chains is a flowchart. Chains is so easy to follow. So easy to follow. How many were 0 votes? I mean, a lot of these have like 1 vote, 2 votes. There's a handful of 0 vote cards. Chains is so easy. It's a meme, and I hate the meme. You know why? Because it was a meme when it involved Sylvan Library. The joke was Chains of Mephistopheles Sylvan Library, and it was about like Type 1.5 and legacy players and whatnot, right? No, but even the wording on the card is easy to follow. If a player would draw a card, that player must first discard a card from their hand. If there are no cards in their hand, you take the top card from the library and place it in the graveyard instead of drawing. This enchantment does not apply to the first card drawn by a player during their draw phase. That is so straightforward. Every time a player draws a card, okay, so anytime I go to draw a card, that player has to discard a card from their hand. Okay, so if I go to draw a card, I first have to pitch a card from my hand. Got it. If there are no cards in your hand, you take the top card from your library and put it in the graveyard instead of drawing. Wait a minute. I'm trying to draw a card, but I can't discard a card. So instead of drawing, I have to mill. This enchantment does not apply to the first card drawn in your draw phase. Oh, I see. This doesn't matter if I'm just drawing for my turn. Thanks, Chains of Mephistopheles. I love you. Ding! Super easy to follow. Like, it's really easy to follow. You literally read the card. The only part that makes Chains awkward, I should put it on the screen. The only part that makes Chains awkward is this reminder that this doesn't apply to the first draw phase. Should probably be in the first sentence. And they fix that with the Oracle text. And the meme only stemmed from Chains with Sylvan Library. And even then, Chains plus Sylvan Library is not that bad. I'll admit, it's probably bad for your average Commander player. But if you're a tournament player, I don't know, that shit's not that tough. It really isn't. There are more complicated modern cards. Like, what's the one Gandalf that's really fucked up? There's some Gandalf that is like vaguely describing something, or maybe that one's easy too. I don't know. All right, I'm wrapping up this part of the stream.